All right, so unfortunately I just noticed that my recording stopped. I think I got a phone call and it just kind of stopped my video. So I've been talking to myself and, working independently. So I'm going to back up a little bit and just kind of explain some of the stuff that I did. So from the last video, oops, here we go. Okay. From the last video, I did finish these curved lines, above that center line, they arched kind of like a rainbow, and then underneath it was more like a U shape. Then I outlined with the ultra thin black Sharpie, which for time's sake, I just did the center one, but that's going to give you a nice clean dark edge so that when you add the illusion of light and dark areas, that edge there, is already outlined. If you don't like adding the Sharpie, you can definitely use a black colored pencil. That works as well. But I outlined it with the black Sharpie, and then I erased all of the pencil marks. So we're going to kind of pretend on that. Now, I already started doing my work here, and obviously the video cut off. So to catch you up, I want you to choose at least 4 colors in your design. I usually try and pick some that are light and dark so that I have that contrast there already. If things are very, very dark, that's fine. You can still have a cool color scheme, meaning like if I had a lot of purples and blues, which are some of my favorite colors, but maybe instead of a dark purple, maybe you have a light purple or a dark blue and a light blue. So that would be one way to also have contrast, light and dark, or, simply having darker colors and then throwing in like a yellow or an orange or other brighter colors. But up to you. Have at least 4, and I'm looking to see some type of pattern in your work, that it's not just randomly placed, but creating patterns, which is one of our art principles, pattern. So I'm going to back up a little bit with my instructions and just kind of repeat that so that you all can see what I've been working on. So to apply color, let's see, maybe I'll work in this section here. So I'm going to go ahead and just outline it with the ultra thin Sharpie. But that's going to be the one that I focus on during the instructional video. Now that I outline these, I'm going to take my eraser and get rid of the graphite pencil. Graphite pencil can show through a little bit with colored pencil work. Erasing that there. So this is the one that I'm going to focus on. I'm going to be working with the color blue, and I picked out a couple other colors, but during the demonstration I'll probably just focus on blue. That's going to be kind of like my base color, but you always want to make sure you have a dark colored pencil. So I have the black that's going to work as kind of my shaded areas, and then highlights where there's light reflecting off that section of the object. I have the white colored pencil. So first thing you want to do is identify where it's going to be darker and lighter. If this is a cylinder shape, the center area is going to be the lighter, and as it curves around like a cylinder, it's going to be darker around the edges. So I'm just going to apply my base coat, and I curve with the object instead of going against it. If it's curving, then I curve with it with my colored pencils. This is kind of my beginning tutorial of how to work with colored pencils. After this, I may still talk about it, but I'll assume that you've tried these things. So really do the best you can, because this is kind of your practice with using colored pencils with creating light and dark areas, also known as highlights and shadows. So the center area is going to be like a brighter white, so I'm not really putting much there. And it's all about layers with colored pencils, paint. Every medium is all about building up the layers to get that illusion that something is real, if that's what you're going for. So I'm just applying a light base, meaning I'm not trying to get it solid right away. I'm just putting some of the color down, and I'm curving with the object that I'm working from. I'm going to switch over to add the shadows. So here's going to be at my edge, kind of outline the edge a little bit, and then just kind of softly bring the black tone kind of curve it inward just a little bit. And I kind of, I apply a little more pressure at the sides, but then kind of lighten up as I get a little bit closer to the center point. As I go in, I apply less pressure. So now that I have that there, I'm going to go back to the original color, which was the blue. Depending on what kind of colored pencils you have, like I'm using the Prismacolors. I really like these because they're very soft and very easy to blend. Crayolas and some of the other brands are a little bit tougher as far as the lead that's inside, but you know, you can certainly create some really great work with them. You just have to know how to use them. But kind of practice with some of the pressure, and I'm mixing this on the paper, kind of mixing the blue with the black value. So as I'm going further in, I'm bringing more blue, but I'm keeping it very, very light. I'm not going to have them touch here because I want a nice strong highlight down the center, kind of like it's reflecting off. And that's going to create the illusion that it's bulging or coming out from the paper, which is the whole part of this, you know, optical illusion design. So now I'm going to switch over to working with the white colored pencil. And here in the center, I'm going to make sure I just have the white, but then I'm going to start blending a little bit of the blue. So I still keep that white down the center, but there's now the white mixing with the blue. So it's white, white and blue, just blue, and then blue and black, and then just black at the very corner. So it's just slowly fading out. You shouldn't add the white all the way to the edges. It should be just kind of that center area. This is going to create the illusion that it has a highlight. There's also colorless blenders with colored pencils, and so the kind of the wax or the lead is soft and doesn't have any color pigment. So it's a great way to kind of spread the color pigment from the colored pencil without it getting darker. So sometimes I use the white colored pencil, or sometimes I'll use the colorless blender. It just kind of depends on what you like. And then you should get this illusion of it being kind of shiny and reflective and getting darker on the edges. And of course you can always go back if you're like, hey, this needs to be a little darker. You can keep adding to it. From here I could go and add, work with another color and start creating another pattern with my colored pencils. Now I realize this could be, you know, when you look at it, this is a lot of work. I got a big section to work with. So like I said, you can group the colors together. It makes it a lot easier to get a little further instead of every other color. It really takes a lot longer. So feel free to group them together.